species related is my favorite. Skunks stink. You stop oppressing the skunk. Stink bugs stink. They're intentionally smelly to make us not want to go near them. But I digress. It is the snooty elitism.
Welcome to the Trash Cats Trashcast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven.
And today we're discussing the ethics of smell.
Big world, a lot of smells.
Skunks stink!
Big stinky planet out there.
And today we're finally going to get a smell what's under Tim Pool's beanie.
Oh, good. Oh, boy.
You know Tim Pool, right? That fella?
I can't fucking wait.
He's such a scumfuck. It's going to be fun making fun of him.
Look at this. Forbes says an unexpected post went viral over the weekend. In it, a University of Cambridge student shared the fact that she completed her PhD. The woman in question, Dr. Ali Lukes, celebrated finishing her thesis with an unassuming tweet that somehow caused outrage online. Have a look and see if you can decipher why. Here we go. Oh, it's because it's a woman. It's a picture of a woman. And it's because it's olfactory ethics. It's funny because it's not even about actual smells. It's about descriptions of smells in fiction.
And you know, I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed. This is how we're starting the new year.
Yeah, that's fair.
But the topic's good. All right, so this loser, basically, he makes fun of an English major's paper about in literature, how smell can be used for political reasons, by emotional, it's a very interesting artsy paper. Mm-hmm. And this Russian funded shill just shits on intellectualism and the arts for 15 minutes in the stupidest ways possible. And I think we'll have fun making fun of him. A. B. It's so lame that these are the losers ruling the internet culture today. And C, her paper is pretty legitimately interesting.
Yeah.
So fuck. Yeah, might as well, right?
It's like, when you brought this topic to me,
you were excited.
I was. I kind of thought you were joking at first, and as you kind of explained it more, I realized oh no, this is very much a material application that's already in use and has been in use for years. By Disney does it, right? Like they pump, smells into the park of things to, whether to make you want to buy things or to, or there's actually a law with it's a law they had to pass for, it was specifically within law stuff where spraying papers with shit that smells bad. They would do that when they would deliver papers to the opposing, the defense or whatever.
Oh yeah. And it was banned. Yeah. For court cases. Cause I know what you're talking. Yeah. That's so fucking wild.
Yeah. It's that's such a goofy tactic to use.
That could be effective.
Yeah, exactly.
If you
100%, you give someone a headache just while they're sitting there having to do their job, and then they do a worse job at it.
Imagine your professor gave you a test, but all the papers were smeared in clear shit. Yeah, it's dude, you're fucking up my test.
Yeah, it's emotional manipulation. It's mental manipulation,
and it's so crazy in this video we're going to react to. One of the examples he even references is a modern day example of what the paper essentially is addressing. I forget who it was, Lauren Loomer or whatever, or Marjorie Green loser. And they were talking about how
just two absolute fucking maniacs,
lunatic hellcat demons. One of them was talking about how if Kamala gets to the White House, we all know it'll just smell like curry.
Oh yeah, no, right? that was definitely Marjorie Green.
Yeah, it's like a way of working in a pretty racist slur, but it's the point is it's almost like an emotional hack or like cheat code in a sense. By conjuring up smell, it gives like such a potent impression on the reader. And this paper is about how across the history of literature, how smell can be used to invoke different things, whether it's political or social. Like that's an interesting concept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, in the, even if you want to go to the full extent of, you know, I guess it's not really playing devil's advocate to it, but it's, let's go along with the example of, okay, the White House is going to smell like a certain kind of food. I would rather, rather my house smell like curry than smell like old McDonald's.
True.
Because you know it's just like that old fry grease smell.
Just
like,
rank.
If you ever like had, you know, a half-eaten bag of McDonald's with some fries in it and that you like put in the backseat of your car before you go to work or something, you come back out later and it smells. Your whole car just reeks of fryer grease.
I don't understand when people, like the racist people, are like, curry smells bad. It's like, what is wrong with you?
They think mayonnaise is spicy.
Oh, man. All right. We got a couple other things too, but let's get in line. Okay. It's 2025, year of the trash cat. New year, new us. How are you? How was your week?
Oh, everything's changed for me, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. My life is better than it's ever been, and it's.
I feel shinier this year.
I'm taller for sure. I think I'm like 4 to 5 inches taller.
Bro, have you seen the leg lengthening surgeries?
Yes.
Damn, bro, that shit's nuts.
It's fucking crazy.
You got to be really insecure to go for that, though. Fuck.
Yeah. And it's like everyone who knows you is going to know that you did it.
Yeah, like this dude's so fucking stupid, he got taller.
Like, you're so emotionally insecure that you paid to get taller.
And it's funny because most of the dudes that have done it so far are like 6 foot, and they go to like 6'6". It's like,
yeah, that's nuts.
Why?
Yeah.
That shit's
if it was like,
too.
If you were like, you know, 5'1" or something, and like you were surrounded by terrible people who, you know, it, like, I don't know, it was causing you enough strife, and you were probably gonna like pack up your shit and move away anyways. And you can, you know, afford it without it like putting you substantially into debt.
Yeah,
I would say go for it. But like, I get there's always the comfort thing of like, yeah, for sure. Like if that's the thing that you want to do with yourself, then like, fuck yeah, go for it. But also that's wild.
Yeah. It's like, comes off really lame, but from like a body modification perspective, from like a libertarian view, from a, you know, like artistic, whatever, like people should be able to do whatever the fuck they want. They want to do surgery, change how fucking their face looks. Why the fuck can't we get taller too? Like at least it has some practicality. It just seems, the lame part is just how intensive it is for people who are doing it primarily for like the aesthetics / Riz points. You know what would be a real bummer is if, you know, you're saving up to do it. It's like really important to you. It's like your self-esteem's fucked and like, you know, but you're saving up but you only get enough to do one leg at a time. Gimpy, the tall man.
Yeah, you know, on as long as you're standing on your right foot, you know, you're 6'6". Otherwise, you're, you know, 5'7" or whatever. I know it doesn't reach that much, but you know, and the next question would be, when can I lengthen my arms?
It's on the way, man.
I want to be my strong short king height of 5'11"
with those monkey arms dragging on the ground.
Yeah, fucking 7 foot wingspan. Just.
Man. What do they call that? It's the ape index. Is how that's. I'm pretty sure that's the real term. Where like your wingspan is the ape index, like how far your arms are.
Yeah, fucking yeah. I want knuckles dragging on the ground, dude, when I walk.
It makes you a good fighter and a good rock climber. That's the two big things. But do you know how the leg surgeries work? Like I initially figured
I looked at it a while ago, but it seems so crazy that it works.
I thought it was just like, you know, because they've had surgeries in the past where they saw the bone and put in like additional metal bars and like
right.
But now it's a device like you crank like every so many days, and it spreads your tibia and fibia. I think you do both, but you can do it in your femur too. And you can get 3 to 4 inches each place you do it. But every so many days or whatever, you crank it and it separates the bones
I do that
were
anyway.
cut. But dude, here's what's so cool is your bone grows to fill the space.
Yeah, that's bonkers.
And then we talked about this years ago. Remember the cows and dogs that will have that gene that makes them ripped?
Yes.
The myostat or whatever the fuck it's called. And there's like the Hercules gene. There's like 2 or 3 people that have it, and they're like, one is, I forget his name, but he's the strongest man on earth, or was for a while. And then there was a guy that CRISPR gene modded himself to inject a gene mutation of this Hercules gene into one arm. And he had like semi-working results with that. Without lifting in that arm, it got like crazy jacked. And now there has been progress in successful surgeries of isolating and gene editing it into people, which is like, it's so beyond next level. I feel like people don't understand what the future could look like with some of these advancements.
Yeah, dude, that's we're building those fucking Halo Spartans.
Bro, it's crazy. I mean, yeah, it's mind-boggling. All right, so chill week.
Yeah, it's all same shit.
I just get excited about it.
Same soup warmed up.
Yeah. Any honorables?
No, there's a slew of movies actually that people have told me to watch. I have a notes app thing in my phone with a list of stuff, but I haven't seen any of them.
Did you see The Creep?
So. The Creep, no.
There's 2 movies. I haven't watched either, but there's a new something with it called The Creep Tapes, and it looks pretty good. It's like a found footage kind of thing where the guy is a video editor working on, so it's like you're watching from the camcorder perspective and he's actually a serial killer kind of deal, but it's like a found footage kind of deal, and it looks like it's like comical but kind of creepy looking. Looked all right. And I've heard The Substance is really good, but I haven't seen it.
Substance was definitely on my list. That's
cool.
That's one that I've had a few different people tell me to check it out.
It sounded interesting. It sounded like something we would enjoy talking about, so maybe we'll have to revisit that. Well, I don't have any honorable my year's been whatever. I've been pretty depressed. Violently depressed, I may say. Yeah. But that in mind, I have no honorable mentions, but I do have some dishonorable mentions.
Oh boy.
Okay. Little update. Your home state, Ricky, of Florida.
No, don't fucking say that.
The place you loved life more than anywhere else in the world.
Listen, I know Ohio's gotten a bad rep lately. It's never gotten a good rep, but it's become
the bully state.
But don't want me in with Florida.
Well, dude, they just banned Pornhub. It's gone.
Did they for real?
Yeah, no, Pornhub in Florida can't access it.
Just specifically Pornhub?
Yeah, well, they did the same.
Oh, yeah, they did in the other ones. Yeah, make it.
Pornhub's the only one big enough to get in trouble for not complying, / they don't want to comply, so they choose to ban it themselves, so they don't have to do the ID tracking system the state of Florida is mandating. So when you go to Pornhub.com in Florida, you get that Sherry DeVille intro video we checked out that tells you can't access it in Florida until there's legislation changes, which is just so wild. I forget offhand, I think it's 11 states now. And Pornhub's really like the only one big enough to comply. So other shit's available, and it's really just going to promote more unsafe content on a scale that big of millions of people. It's just like the stupidest anti-freedom, anti-First Amendment, anti-American hack clown
now,
thought crime bullshit.
I'm sure we answered this question when we talked about it previously. What would be like, would you get charges if you use like a VPN to get around that?
I don't think so. I think theoretically, my assumption is the only people accountable are the companies, like the Pornhub, like the distributor. So yeah, tons of people aren't just going to go pay for a VPN service. Like, I don't think you can ever get in trouble for accessing legal content.
Yeah, that's the thing that it drives me wild. Is it's like, but
the content's not illegal.
It's easier than it's ever been to set up a VPN, and
yeah,
I mean, they have free ones.
It
may
so
not be
stupid.
Fantastic, but I mean, it'll probably get the job done.
Yeah, Tor browser, you can do it easy for free. But yeah, it's still trash. Especially when you could go onto all kinds of dangerous, sketchier sites that don't verify even the people in videos are of age, or you have to go to stranger places. It's just so stupid. It's like just promoting.
Just make it more
content.
sketchy to get porn. Great.
Yeah, it's so dumb. But so Pornhub's cool. Pornhub is
Pornhub
whatever.
based. It's cool. It's fine.
They have succumbed to too much religious bullying, but Pornhub's neutral, but the state of Florida is fucking stupid. Yeah. And then did you see the Tesla? These are my dishonorables, because I've not found inspiration in the real world this week. Did you see the Tesla explosion?
I did.
Pretty interesting. I gotta say, I'm starting to think there's a little bit something to that, there's no bad tactics, just targets. All right, so he's a soldier, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's
did they actually catch the guy?
He shot himself in the face before he detonated.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was an active. All right, so this is my recollection of the initial reporting. So there could have been updates or whatever, but I believe he was a soldier on active duty, like on a leave, and he drove his Tesla to the Donald Trump building, and like as he drove to it, filled it with gasoline and more explosives and rigged it, shot himself in the face, and had it detonate in front of the Trump building. Bro, we're vigilante era. This is Joker shit.
Yeah.
Now, the lame part is he didn't do anything effective. He injured like 4 innocent passerbys, and the police were on the news talking about it was actually kind of cool because the Tesla truck was made so sturdy that the explosion only went up and not out. So like despite the vehicle being parked in front of the front doors of the Trump building, and it's a massive, massive explosion for a car going off, but the front doors didn't even shatter.
Oh, cool. He made an ad for Musk.
Yeah.
What I also would like you to pay attention to on that video, as you see that, it looks like the exterior of that truck is completely intact as it sits there. The fact that this was a cyber truck really limited the damage that occurred inside of the valet, because
Thank God it was a Cybertruck.
it had most of the blasts go up through the truck and out. In fact, if you look on that video, you'll see that the front glass doors at the Trump hotel were not even broken by that blast, which they were parked directly in front of. You can see that in the video there.
But the memes are pretty funny, but yeah, so you basically like just injured 4 innocent people and then didn't manage to even like shatter the doors of the building. You detonated. It's nutty, man. And then last dishonorable, speaking of the muskiest man himself, I have done a deep dive into Kekamis Maximus this week.
Tell us all about it.
I can't, dude. I'm in too deep. I'm just drop feeding this one because I gave you a little peek behind Oz's curtain. There's some wild shit at play on the internet right now. Nazism is going mainstream over these Indian HSB whatever visas as the mega civil war erupts. But there's a person that I appreciate their art quite a bit, even though he's a piece of shit and he got involved. And there's going to be, like, I'm joking, but there are going to be such serious consequences from what happened. Like, it's actually, like, severely serious.
Well, we just can't wait for that to, come more to light and we get some more.
Yeah, we'll do a whole episode on it, I think. But it's like going to radically shape internet politics and thus our real world politics quite a bit in like really ugly ways. And it's just forcing it all to go mainstream. And it's exceptionally frustrating to me because in a vacuum, despite it being like gross content, it was extremely interesting and thought-provoking and completely benign to like a mentally fortified person while being absolute genocide fuel to a really dumb person.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunately the realm of Keximus Maximus.
What it sounds like to me is that we need somebody on the inside of this. We need somebody who's got their finger on the pulse.
Bro,
we
I'm
need to
raiding Stormfront every night while all of you normal people sleep. I'm in the forums, bro.
Well, you're in the forums, but what I'm saying is we need to get, somebody in like undercover boss style, like we'll shave their head and give them a mustache and we can work out the tattoo, the swastika tattoo on the forehead situation. It might have to be temporary at first.
Just crayon.
Yeah, just draw it on with a mark of the Sharpie. Have to reapply it every day.
Did you ever watch any of those documentaries of the white guy with red hair that joined ISIS? Does this ring a bell at all?
No.
He was like I think he was American, and then he went to Britain and joined ISIS and like progressed farther up the ladder than any either white person or American had previously. And he truly did believe it. And at some point, I think got cold feet. And then he became a like double agent for both. I forget if it was Britain and the CIA at different times, but he also like still believed. And he has like a crazy story. And it's like impossible to know if he actually was a double agent or if he just got busted and was a CI. And he's like the court records don't clear it up. So he has this record or like reputation of being both a snitch and a hero kind of thing. It's really interesting, but
that's wacky.
Yeah. That's the world we live in. All right.
Yep.
Should we do this shit?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. So I'll give a little intro. As we start our episode today, it is important to remember that the contemporary politics on the internet today is all just theater. Tim Pool was a Russian-funded hack, is not a very bright guy, and will never be anything more than a reactionary Republican dicksuck. I don't know if you guys followed, what was it, the Russian... Wow, what was the name of it?
They also mention in the indictment a company based out of Tennessee that is unnamed, but is most likely Tenet Media. Now, you might have heard of Tenet Media before. They are the YouTube home to a bunch of right-wing personalities, Lauren Southern, Tim Pool, Taylor Hanson, Matt Christensen, Dave Rubin, and Benny Johnson. And you know what's crazy? I think I've interacted with all of these people at one point or another because they were spreading disinformation regarding Ukraine. Specifically, Tim Pool, who is probably the worst of the bunch. One funny thing to note. Tim Pool said in a Twitter post, should these allegations prove true, I, as well as other personalities and commentators, were deceived and are victims. So, you weren't paid by Russia? You came up with these lies about Ukraine that just so happened to conform to Russia's foreign policy goals on your own? And you did it for free? That's probably the dumbest thing you've ever said, Tim, and you have said some dumb stuff. But go with it. Go with it if you're in front of a judge. I want to see what happens.
Not just propaganda, direct a Russian asset feeding, like made the company and paid them.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
And he was too dumb to realize it. So he doesn't even realize his political points were so in view with Russian agents that he didn't even have to change his content for them.
That's the craziest part.
Yeah, like he's not being criminally charged so far. Him, Dave Rubin, there's like 4 other. But the FBI revealed that this was one of 40 cells of this happening, like of internet commentators on the right, a couple on the left, mostly on the right, that were spewing Russian propaganda for millions a year. It's like insane.
If Russia uses any kind of actual higher yield nuclear weapon, then it's World War III and they know it. But I don't know that it matters anymore. This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine.
Tim Pool's one of the biggest politics, as stupid as that is, he's one of the biggest politics voices on the internet.
Yeah.
And they drive the culture. And privately, I have been told by a source that shall remain anonymous that he actually wears that beanie to hide a very big, stinky tumor. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. That's pretty disgusting.
It's like a big-ass sore, and it, like, leaks. So sometimes throughout his episodes, he changes beanies. And sometimes you'll see him, like, lighting incense and stuff. It's, like, really gross. He's a very stinky, bad person.
You know, that's... typically, I would feel like that's unfortunate for him. Woe is he, you know, who wears the stinky hat, but also he's a bad person. So
did you watch his
he's earned the stink
Beasley debate?
I didn't watch the whole thing. No, I saw a couple clips of it though.
It's incredible, dude. It's 5-on-1, and little Weasley Beasley, he's so meek but composed. He just throttles him. It's incredible. Tim like loses his shit screaming at him for being a fascist and how he doesn't look into anything. And then like 15 points in a row, he didn't know anything and was wrong over and over. It's like,
yeah,
pretty...
calling him out on stuff, and like they looked it up, and he's like, and they just he tries to just move on, and he's like, are you going to acknowledge that I was right about that? Are you going to acknowledge that?
Bro,
what you said was wrong?
It's like, humiliating. No. Like, we could never be back on the internet after that. That just no shot.
Pack it up and go home.
Yeah, just never log in to anything ever after that. But despite all of his obvious flaws, all of his disgusting smells, Tim Pool runs one of the biggest internet politics shows where he grifts as a self-proclaimed anti-intellectual centrist. A couple weeks back, Dim Tim stumbled across an English PhD paper titled Olfactory Ethics, The Politics of Smell in Modern and Contemporary Prose. I don't know, is it PhD? I think she was writing it to get her PhD.
Yeah.
And at that moment, he knew he had his next grift. We're going to break down this political theater in 3 movements, if you will. First, we're going to react to Dim Tim's coverage. Second, we're going to actually read the abstract to the woman's paper with an open mind. I would like to point out, normally I steal my papers from poli-sci. If you get the IBM whatever number from JSTOR, you can put it on poli-sci hub and you can steal papers. It's very nice. But they've been cracked down upon. You can only get older things. And her paper, she had to delist from it being public because so many of these people were like tearing it apart with the dumbest criticisms possible. So it's like, think of that. Somebody wrote, whether you like it or not, like an interesting paper to put out into the world to like talk about contemporary prose and literature and arts and, you know, how our senses interact with these things. And people are so fucking ugly and stupid, it can no longer be publicly hosted. Like, that's so disappointing and lame.
Yeah. So, something that is not inherently, you know, maybe not political by nature, but like not necessarily attacking
Right.
you
It's just a
or
thought.
anything that you do. Yeah, it's a think piece.
Yeah. And then, they're the same people that are like, oh, women's, gender studies. Like, oh, these libs take these stupid majors and that's what's wrong with our world. It's like, do you really want a world where like no one knows art history or women's studies or psychology or philosophy or literature? Like, what the fuck kind of world do you want to live in?
You just ban all the books. It's just the Bible, and you can work your field.
If you don't go to school to learn how to build fences and be a hard man, like, why?
It really is so much. I mean, so much of the book ban shit too. Like, is
Yeah.
just it's really
From your home
just
state,
like
Florida,
you fucking yeah.
banning the Bible because they got fucking
Yeah.
played.
They did it in Texas too. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it was the entire state or if it was just like a county situation, but
How pathetic and anti-religious. Like,
it's really wild to me because I mean, so much of it also is like they're literally doing the fucking Ricky from Trailer Park Boys thing of like fucking with your book learning.
Yeah,
like books
dude.
they never did nothing for nobody. Like how it's a joke. It was a joke years ago, and now it's like, wow, this is a real stance that these people are taking,
Yeah.
outwardly saying it. Like who was the guy that just like literally said that? Well, I think it was one of the Pauls or something.
I think on Piers Morgan, that Grant Cardone guy, the scam retail Mormon dude, I think he said something to that effect, like books are for dumb. Oh, you're right. I think Logan Paul said something about it.
Yeah, I think he said some shit about that, and he was it's
Did you
like,
get that from a book?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, you fucking idiot.
It's bad
How sad your life is
pathetic.
that you
Well, his
literally
life's
have
pretty good,
anything you want at the arm's reach if you really want it, and and that's how you are, and that's how you react to shit.
Well, there's like a weird part to it too. This is a different conversation, but there is something to like ignorance can breed happiness. Like the type of people who think books are dumb are probably also living happier lives on the aggregate. As dumb and
Yeah,
backwards as that is, they're probably live happier
yeah.
because they make the world worse for everyone else.
The less you know, and the less you understand, the less there is to worry about.
Yeah,
So the less weight you carry on your shoulders.
it's the ignorance matrix.
Yeah, it really is. It's the craziest shit that I forget what the thing is. I was just talking about someone about this the other day of like where people who are studied and professionals of a subject or a topic are a lot more cautious about
What is that? The term for that?
That's what I'm trying. I don't remember what it's like. Yeah,
It's the
but
more
then
you know, the less confident you should be. And the less you know, the more you are overconfident.
Yeah, the stupider you are, the more verbose and overly unearned confident about the shit that they're saying, and it's like it's the wildest thing.
Yeah, the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
Sounds pretty fancy. And then thirdly, we're gonna actually read a short article from the author herself about what her paper actually means. I think it'll be an interesting little ride, a little experiment on why our world is fucked.
I can't wait.
Now, I must warn you, dear trash cats, if you have not had the misfortune of encountering Tim the Dim Pool before, it's a pretty brutal experience. You should expect to lose a couple IQ points if you listen for any prolonged period of time, so we'll keep this part relatively brief. As sad as it is, these people are absolutely dominating the internet culture and thus our real world culture today. And as frustrating as that is, I think it's kind of important and should be addressed by more people. As dumb as these arguments are, they should be brutally kicked back into the dirt as hard as possible. So
Yeah.
But that said, you've been warned. It's brutal.
He's so fucking annoying.
It's like a little angry chipmunk.
He is.
Over this past holiday week, a story was taking the internet by storm. It's a story of a young woman who is saying with a smile on her face that she got her PhD. She did it. No corrections. She made it.
Dude, good for her.
Now, why would this story go viral? Well, of course, there are many liberals claiming that it's because the internet is full of right-wing misogyny and they just don't like women scientists. The reality is that...
I don't like how he said that. Very rude.
Her thesis was called
Hurtful
Olfactory Ethics, the Politics of Smell in Modern and Contemporary Prose. Yes, she literally wrote her thesis about how smells are racist. That's right. That because people smell things...
I am 100%... I have not read the piece. But I'm 100% sure that it's not in there. That phrasing is not there.
Not like that.
No.
He's building the dumbest straw man, right? He's saying...
Yeah, of course.
These gender studies, these English majors, all these dumb, sensitive libs just are so, anti-racist. They even get angry at smells. And that's like the straw man he builds. Yeah. There's an element of her paper that is about the type of things that we see in these tweets today, of how you can induce such a potent form of racism by saying like the White House will smell like curry. Like it invokes something, right? Like there are examples throughout literature. Like if you want to say, and it's not even in a bad way, but if you want to say someone's poor, it's like their clothes smell damp. Like there are ways you can invoke feelings and stuff. But to Tim, like the idea of not even making a judgment about it, but just addressing how they can be used in writing to, show class, show race, show whatever, is him saying, oh, our whole paper is that smells are racist. It's like so pathetic. It's pathetic. Just a big sigh.
Yeah, it's all just...
Bro, he's starting off hot. He's a little angry chipmunk, dude.
This
motherfucker burns bright.
He does. He just came in real hot,
bro.
That's why I wonder, like, what was he talking about right before this that he's so fucking heated already over? Wow. Like, what's his process like? Because
this clip, and this is fairly enlightening and really gives you into how Tim Pool operates.
I think I've crafted a strategy that creates a paradox that cannot be countered in any reasonable capacity. I'm sure there will be attempts, but the ultimate issue is this. I tweeted, abolish the ATF. I tweeted, abolish the IRS. Which one of those, if any, are my actual opinions? I also tweeted, there was a study saying that, Fauci said something like COVID lockdowns. Or they said something like, we don't know if there's ever going to be an end to the pandemic. And so then I said, okay, then release all the restrictions. There's actual opinions in there. Which one's the real one? Maybe you can come to one of my, podcasts and try and figure out how I really feel about things. Do I really want to abolish the ATF? I said abolishing the police is wrong. What's my real opinion? Go ahead and figure it out, journalists. You won't be able to, which means any tweet ever used by any publication from me will be them publishing complete bunk BS, because you will not be able to determine which one of my tweets is real.
I mean, I assume, I'm sure some days he just wakes up angry, but like,
yeah. Well, I mean,
what's his his routine in the morning? Wakes up, he
screams at the deep state in the sky. Yeah, talks about DEI hires, and he hates wokeism so hard that he just like loses his shit every single day for a decade.
Well, dude, at least he's not doom scrolling in the morning.
He used to be.
I think we're all guilty of that.
He used to be a Vice correspondent. He did the Wall Street, the 2008, the bank crisis stuff. And he would write about, like, he went to Ukraine and, like, talked about how, like, Russia was bad there. And then, like, 15 years later is, like, the pro-Russia, Democrats are woke demons guy. It's like so crazy. Like you can watch the grift over a decade or whatever, just like fully like anger chipmunk his mind.
And we should apologize to Russia.
He's become a squirrel man with stinky tumors. It's wild, dude.
She literally wrote her thesis about how smells are racist. That's right. That because people smell things in fictional writing, Let me clarify that. Because there are descriptors of how people smell in fictional writing, it implies that people are racist to other people because they smell bad or something like that. Now, there are, of course, liberals defending her, saying it's made for experts to understand. No, this is the death of academia. This is some woman being like, I've got nothing to contribute to anything meaningful in society. So let me just say, smells are racist, and you're racist for smelling people.
Do you think he's just like pure faking? Like, do you think this is fool theater, or he's a true believer? I think he's a true
that's
believer.
tough. Yeah, I think he's there's. I don't think you can get that. I mean, I know people are good actors, but I don't know. I think he believes it.
Yeah.
Well, I can't help that some people smell, and I smell them and find it unpleasant. There are, and this is a fact, not so much about race, but it's diet.
So funny.
People smell differently based on the foods they eat.
Oh, really?
Fact. Like if you're on a keto diet, for instance, you may stink. What do they call it? Acetone breath.
He's trying to
then there are
put the
other
whole cover.
diets
He's
that are,
projecting. He's worried about how he
Korean and other
smells.
things. And this is, I don't know if it's urban legend because I'm not special forces or whatever.
I'm not special forces. Yeah, dude, we know.
But I've heard that when people are going military, are going to be embedded in a certain area, they will eat the diet of that area for a few weeks so that they don't smell odd. You get accustomed, what do they call it? Nose blindness. Everybody around you is eating the same food. They all kind of smell the same except for people who don't take showers. But if you go to another country where people are eating dramatically different things, you'll notice they smell different. And so this woman, said it's racist.
It's incredible.
It's racist indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's break this down. Let's talk about the absurdity of the modern condition. And we have this tweet from Homath.
From Homath.
Oh boy, I'm
That's
glad
a
we're getting
source.
our verified sources here.
He says this woman is why everything is falling apart. Well, let me just pause right there and say, well, this woman is not why it's all falling apart, but I get what he's saying. She is a component of the decline of, I don't know, intelligent thought. She's got the ultimate BS degree.
To hear him talk about the decline of intelligent thought.
Wow.
Okay,
From a
you put it
tweet
better
by
than I did.
Homath.
I read the abstract
exactly.
for you. It's full of BS language, unnecessary big words, and pretentious sentence structure.
Keep in mind, he hasn't read the paper yet.
Yeah.
This is nuts.
She could have said the same thing simply, but she didn't want to. No. Look, the argument that's being made is that she used academic language, and that's written for experts because they are pretentious. We get it. And she responded with, I don't express my ideas like this to regular people, but it still is on point to say it is jargon garbled nonsense where these people who want to sound smarter than you try and talk a certain way.
It's tough, man.
Her thesis statement is basically, if you say someone stinks, people like them less. You know, like we all learned from watching cartoons when we were 4.
If you smelt
She got a
it,
PhD
you
for
dealt
this.
it.
And from the looks of her, she probably believes that this entitles her to an extremely high status lifestyle. Yep. Remember this when they tell you that women are beating men at getting an education. Good luck to whoever has to pay off those loans. And don't forget, call her doctor.
He's one of these people, like, people hate, and it's because of people like him. Like, people hate college now. Like, I have plenty of complaints about higher education, but
Yeah.
It has a very important place in our world.
If your argument for against higher education is because they're going to turn you liberal,
They're going to make you too woke, bro.
yeah, they're going to make you too woke. That's a terrible argument, and it's like not founded in anything other than like you're more or less you're telling on yourself as the more educated you are, the more you're not going to believe in these views anymore.
Or conspiracy theories and Homath. Yeah.
But if you have actual like criticisms of, hey, this is a really expensive process for people that aren't finding job placement and, aren't seeing like real world results come from this. They're losing time or they're losing, real in-world training and real world, like experience
or time. And
yeah. And,
those are valid concerns.
Yeah. It's, if you want to go get, your PhD and whatever, like that's I fully support that for people.
Absolutely.
But I definitely wouldn't say it's for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And they love like talking about how like the trades are king, right? Like plumbers make $200,000. Like they love that line. Trades are great too. Like we should encourage more people to do that. But we want people to do these so-called useless degrees. Like we want people to like explore all aspects of liberal arts. Like he's a YouTuber that makes like creative content, like skateboard videos and music videos and talks politics, and then he's trashing like social sciences. Like, what is the logic of that?
Absolutely insane.
And so many of the problems with college do come down to cost, but for most of the answers to that is like community college. Like, yo, you don't have to go to the best schools. Like we really have like fucked over a lot of the youth. I think of our generation specifically. I remember when you were gone already, but the rest of our senior class or whatever, when graduation came, I was one of 2 kids who didn't go to college, like from high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone went. And I can almost guarantee, considering like over 25% of our class dropped out during senior year, I can guarantee a bunch of those people did not finish college, right? And they just weren't ready yet, or didn't know what they want, or got into debt and like overpaying and shit. Like, it's not for everyone all the time, but it is like one of the most reliable ways to change your social status over the course of your life and like improve and, you know, be able to take care of yourself. For a lot of people, it offers that. And a lot of the people that miss out on that because they went to the wrong school that was too expensive, or they took a major that maybe they should have taken something more practical. Most of the times, the answer to that is just going to a community school, you know, and just getting like a basic degree to start, you know. I don't know. There's just so many problems with this type of thinking about academia being so fucking evil because it's all ran by the Jews controlling the media and all this
exactly.
dumb shit.
It's always got to be some fantastical version of something.
The great replacement theory.
It's so fucking crazy.
It's sad.
I'm also all for, like, I think trades should be like, I think it would be cool to start trades in like middle and high school.
I'm for that too.
There's no reason why you couldn't learn, you know,
carpentry.
There's like the little circuit board like things that like I had one growing up that was like teaches you how to like wire together like some buttons on a switchboard to make, you know, a light work and a little radio work. And there's shit like that like you can learn how to like do those things. They're very simple.
I turned my first Raspberry Pi into a vibrator by 7th grade.
Yeah, exactly. You know, or even like plumbing shit, like learning what, you know, I guess some of the epoxies and stuff they use in that are.
I sniffed my first plumber's glue by 6th grade.
It's the good glue.
Bro, that shit doesn't fuck around. That shit bucks, dude. That pipe sealer goes hard, bro.
I don't see any reason why, you know, we can't like teach real world, you know, ethic, you know, skills.
Yeah,
I mean, even just as a homeowner or, you know, someone who owns things that they could potentially be able to fix on their own. Maybe they don't get into it to work, but it's, you know, would reinforce the idea of, hey, like I can probably, you know, take this apart and look at it and fix it. And it's not going to be everybody's thing, but I mean, neither is math.
Yeah. And some people you can tell early, like what they're going to be good or not good at. Like,
yeah, and
the point is, I think there's tons and tons of valid criticisms of higher education, academia, whatever, but there are lots of good parts of it too, and nothing he ever has said about the subject matter is worth considering at all.
Fucking
clowns, dude.
Okay, well, she linked her thesis. Wait. Here's a response. What do you say? Law of Self-Defense said, to what extent was your PhD subsidized by taxpayers, and when do you plan demanding that middle-class Americans working trades pay off your student loans? And it says, the OP's photo clearly indicates that she did her PhD at the University of Cambridge, which is in the UK. Fair point. Yeah, I
It's
didn't say
not
nothing
even
about
in
that.
the US.
But
Cool.
I think we have her abstract in this Forbes article. There's a lot of nasty stuff there, for sure. I don't think anybody should be threatening her. Or whatever.
Real nasty,
But I'm going
I'm
to read
sure.
for you the abstract because
Okay, we couldn't get the full paper, but okay, Tim.
this is the culture war, my friends, and this abstract exemplifies academia is dead, education is fake.
This is his first time reading it.
You've got to learn in the real world, do your own research, and figure out what is functional because the institutions are corrupt and they have failed.
Okay.
Anyway,
Dumbass.
abstract. This thesis studies how literature registers the importance of olfactory discourse, the language of smell, and the olfactory imagination it creates. In structuring our
Interesting.
social world, the broad aim of this thesis is to offer an intersectional and wide-ranging study of olfactory oppression by establishing the underlying logics that facilitate smell's application in creating and subverting gender, class, sexual, racial, and species-powered structures. Species! Lady, come on. Dogs smell like wet dog. Maybe don't like it. Some people maybe do, I guess.
Oh, my
She goes on to
dogs
say,
smell terrible.
I focus largely on prose
never
fiction
give
from
my
modern and
animals a bath.
contemporary periods so as to trace the legacy of olfactory prejudice
That's how I
in
like
today
'em.
and situate its contemporary relevance. I suggest that smell very often invokes identity in a way that signifies an individual's worth and status in an inarguable manner.
It's true.
It short circuits conscious reflection.
Yeah.
This can be accounted for by acknowledging olfaction's strongly effective nature in favor of a behavioral or cognitive solution that assuages the intense feeling most immediately.
The response to olfactory receptors it's connected to your memories. It's one of the strongest
Yeah.
senses that connects to your brain. It's directly
it invokes
into
emotion
Yeah.
powerfully. Yeah.
It's extremely powerful of our touch can be quite sensitive, but it's almost dull because you're always feeling something all the time with it. You're always hearing something all the time. You're always, seeing something all the time kind of thing. The smells change a lot, and that, it evokes so much of a response of like whether something is poisonous. Like that's what it kind of comes from is like, is something hazardous to my health?
Right.
Is something, smell
bitter
pleasant
'cause
like
it can
food
hurt me, or sweet because it tastes good, or
yeah.
but it's like agree or disagree with her like final conclusions of the paper. The idea is just that this concept can be used to manipulate writing for
Right.
good or bad. She's not even like putting out an opinion yet in this. And I do get I don't agree with it, but I understand the feeling of like, oh, it's about identity and like, orientation, speciesism. And obviously this is all like woke, dumb shit. Like I kind of, well, I disagree with it. I kind of like understand how like those buzzwords make dumb people think it's something it's not or whatever.
Yeah.
But this is like clearly an interesting topic worth exploring. Even if you disagree with it, even if you think this was a dumb degree to get, even if you hate fucking Shakespeare, prose, contemporary, whatever the fuck, like the paper's not for you then.
Right.
Like what is so distasteful or nasty stuff he says? What is so important you need to, on your politics show, trash this PhD paper and send hate their way? I just don't understand.
Write your own paper, Tim.
Yeah, Tim.
Rebuttal.
If he could rub all three of
if
his
he could-
brain cells together to get a sentence
Yeah,
out.
if you could fucking write anything.
It's just disappointing. It's just like lame. And this is why people hate these people. And it's why it shows like how easy it is to manipulate people into thinking like this is a bad thing. Like this
Yeah.
paper hasn't stated a conclusion or whatever. It's just like,
I
it's
think
just disappointing.
I think the most disappointing part of it is the overall like you said, like for dumb people, you can see you can draw the lines of you can see where the lines connect of where they hear certain trigger things and they get angry.
Yeah.
But the sad part about the whole situation, like the entire political scape, especially as a whole, is you're playing on the field of dumb people.
Yeah.
There's so like those are the people who are making or breaking these decisions. There's such a swath of them that
Like,
you know on either side, it doesn't matter, but are willing to are you know, kind of subject themselves to fall prey to shit like that because they're so reactive to,
yeah.
you know, some otherwise mundane stimuli.
He's using like that to sculpt an audience full of people who are willing to discount all of it. Like, even if I disagree, these are interesting ideas.
Mm-hmm. He shuts things down without really having a true counter argument to it.
Yeah.
And just makes faces and, you know, the snoots his voice at it. Yeah. And it's like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you very clearly have nothing of note or worthy to add to this conversation. Like, you're opening a dialogue with and submitting nothing to it. It's embarrassing.
Like, I feel like even we trash things. There's ways you can trash things and like, I disagree with this. Here's my reasons. And this is why I think you should actually think this.
Yeah.
That's not what's happening. This is like, she thinks smells are racist. Haha.
Yeah.
Hasn't read the paper. Doesn't give an honest interpretation of what its intentions are. And then gets other people to trash it publicly.
And you know damn well he's not ingesting any of these words as he's reading them.
Olfactory disgust, therefore, tends to result in rejection, while harmful forms of olfactory desire may result in sublimation or subjugation. Seriously?
He doesn't know what that means.
No.
Bifurcated affective spectrum of olfactory experiences, drawing attention to this displeasurable olfactory relations that have socio-political utility. I argue that literary fiction is not only an arena in which olfactory logics can be instantiated, but also a laboratory in which possibilities for new kinds of relations and connections can be fostered and tested.
Little gup swimming sideways.
Chapter 1 explores how smell can be used to indicate class antipathies, partly as they relate to homelessness. Beginning with George Orwell's seminal nonfiction text, The Road to, Wigan Pier. Before considering Lane Sinclair's The Last London and Bong Joon-ho's Parasite.
Good movie.
Chapter 2 explore the fantastical, idealistic, and utopic thinking that surrounds olfaction, which presents smell as a fundamentally non-human by addressing J.M. Coetzee's Disgrace. Virginia Woolf's Flush. Ah, heavens me, I'm not reading the rest of this.
Nice.
In layman's terms, when people smell bad, it is used as a classist, gendered, sexual, racial, or species-related matter of oppression.
So what's your argument against that?
Lord, help us. But you know what? This reaction is exactly what needs to happen. Now, I will stress, the people that are saying nasty things to this woman, like threats and stuff.
Like from his audience?
Yeah, exactly. The people that you point to it.
Like, dude, you are making things worse. And you also are an example of everything that's wrong. You've got the snooty over-the-top...
I will say, at least he's condemning it. While encouraging it.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you quite briefly. Well, smelling someone can be a tool of oppression.
What is the argument? This isn't
There's
literature.
nothing. Yeah.
This is like, she's saying this happens as a literary tool. What is the...
Yeah.
Species related is my favorite. Skunks stink. You stop pressing the skunk. They're stink bugs stink. They're intentionally smelly to make us not want to go near them. But I digress. It is the snooty elitism where it's like, I'm smarter than you because I found out that smells are displeasant. Sure.
That's projection on a huge level from him.
Yeah, especially since he's already changed his beanie twice today.
That's pretty crazy.
His weeping peanut tumor.
But then you've got other people on the other side who are saying really nasty things to this woman, like saying that she should, like lose her life or something like that. Get out of here with all that stuff. What we want is sound, reasonable criticism of the absurdities, such as this. Ma'am, we get it. Nobody needed to write down and add to the academic knowledge base that smells can be pleasurable or displeasurable. We don't need it. It is not functional nor practical. This is an example of a person being like, I have nothing to contribute at all. So let me just say, I don't know, smells are racist.
The irony.
Yeah, exactly. The hearing him say shit that it's so fucking ironic.
Guys, I got to be honest. Part of me imagines this woman like smoking pot in her dorm room with her friends. And then she's just like, I got nothing.
This is a PhD paper about writing, and then his video is 10 minutes of trash, not reading the whole thing, understanding any of it, and just pumping it out online.
Yeah.
The irony is just...
Well, he doesn't have a lot of time in his day. He's got to go wash his beanies afterward. Those are, he pays good money for those beanies. He's got to hand wash them.
I don't have time to read. I got to clean my tumor. My tumor ain't going to clean
My
itself.
exposed tumor.
I mean, like, what is there even to write about in literature? Like, their books. And then the friend is like, I bet you could just say things like I don't know, white paper is racist because the white is greater than the black ink. And then she probably laughs. She's like, dude, I'll just... No, then what happened was the guy's like, this weed is some skunk. And then she was like, oh, dude, I'm just going to write a thesis about how smells are racist. And they started laughing. And she was like, dude, I bet it'll work. I'll get a PhD watch. I would actually respect that tremendously if she came out and said, they actually gave me a PhD for this and chucked it into a fireplace. But no, she's serious. And this is the problem. You're going to spend money on these degrees.
A PhD is unattainable to this motherfucker. My dude's so jealous.
Look at this. Forbes says an unexpected post went viral over the weekend. In it, a University of Cambridge student shared the fact that she completed her PhD. The woman in question, Dr. Ali Lukes, celebrated finishing her thesis with an unassuming tweet that somehow caused outrage online. Have a look and see if you can decipher why. Here we go. Oh, it's because it's a woman. It's a picture of a woman. And it's because it's olfactory ethics. It's funny because it's not even about actual smells. It's about descriptions of smells in fiction. Like, I'm going to write a story.
This is like schizophrenic,
bro.
It really is. This is like Alex Jones level.
Oh,
yeah, he's not... He's like 60% Jones. Joneson.
Yeah. It's hard to get...
Lord, help us.
Boy, it'd be a lot to get full 100% Jones.
Yeah. Ethics, the politics of smell in modern and contemporary prose. It focused on the use of scent in literature, and a large Twitter X community took umbrage with that. On the surface, there's nothing overly remarkable about our social media post. I think it is. I think it's her being like, I wrote garbled nonsense, and they gave me a doctorate, and now I'm a doctor. Dude, I'm sorry. If that qualifies this lady to be a doctor,
he's jealous.
I got way more accolades that should make me a doctor.
Oh,
I'm a doctor now.
He said it.
I have hereby decreed.
He just wants to be a doctor.
And you too at home.
Yep.
I hereby decree
He needs a doctor.
Doctors. Are you a plumber? How long have you been a plumber? Can you unclog a toilet effectively? Well, I give you hereby award.
I'm not a plumber, but I can do that.
Honorary doctorate plumber. What's the point? I made this point a long time ago. A bunch of my friends did.
The bitterness.
Because we were joking about how you go online and buy fake degrees. And no one ever checks. It's stupid. So what's the point of going to school if they're going to give anyone a degree for anything? Now, me personally, I have developed several technologies and methodologies in media. In fact,
that's not how that works.
This is what the energy of this is. Pause it real quick. Pause it. Yeah. The energy here is... Remember watching the debates with Ron DeSantis, and he's just clenching his fucking jaws the whole time. Yeah. He's so fucking angry.
Trying to his horse shoes were poking in that day. Yeah.
It's if Ron DeSantis was able to did like a bump of coke and like had a little bit more energy about him. And could unhinge his jaw from the steel trap that he has created for himself.
Right.
I feel like this is the energy. He's just furious, and he's just spouting bullshit garbage,
just like poison into the world all day.
It's He's just got nothing to say of any true note other than. Like, I could do it. It's embarrassing that she does it but I can do it.
I could do it. I could be a way better doctor than this bitch.
Yeah.
I know spells that are way more racist than her
she's
spells.
A woman. You fucking idiot.
Bro, like he's so poisonous to the American mind, the plebs, right? That Russia paid him millions just to make the content he was already making.
Yeah.
Our enemies across the world are like, this dude is so poisonous
Yeah.
to America. We will pay him to just keep doing what he's already doing.
And they fucking love him.
Love it, dude. It's just a vision. And, you know, like, it just sucks because most people like this, even a Dave Rubin or whatever, like, they know they're grifting. And Tim Pool knew that money was dirty in one way or another. Like, he knew it wasn't, like, honest money.
Yeah.
Even if he didn't know
no one gives you that kind of money without it being, they have a point to make. They have an agenda.
Yeah. But I think he, like, truly believes what he's saying, which is, like, the wild part. I feel like when you look at these people, even like an Andrew Tate or whatever, it's like, I don't get how people are like they want to play like the role of like alpha or confident or whatever. Like, this dude looks like a nerd to me. Like, this feels like incel shit.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely, yes.
lame, angry, nerdy shit.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing to me. It's cringe.
It's super
cringe. The idea that anybody could watch him, I mean, even just like for the 10 minutes we've been watching this, it's like, this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
To like tune into him on a regular or consider him like a valid
serious
someone who makes valid, serious points of view, like whatever, even if you're on the spectrum of like, oh, he's, this is an opinion piece. I'm sure most of his followers are people who are, he's speaking the truth, truth to power kind of shit.
Radical anti-establishment centrist,
anti-intellectual.
Yeah.
Like how
how anti-smart.
Yeah. It's like, how could you possibly run on that and then feel
that.
Yeah. And it's the idea of, it's crazy to me. Like my standards are lower than they have ever been. And it's still just wild to me to think that people watch this and they're like, oh yeah, I gotta subscribe to this.
Like, Ben Shapiro is like a garbage hack wannabe intellectual. Mm-hmm. And like, he is insufferable. But like, this is so many rungs lower than that. Like, I don't understand how could you even make it to this like sphere or circle of like hell content? Like, how did you get here? And for this to like to affect people's like outputs on the world, it's just mind-boggling. How much Alex Jones have you watched?
Not a ton.
Man, dude,
most of my Alex Jones consumption has been Prison Planet.
It's like it is like a dive into insanity. Like, you have to like check your brain at the door, and be willing to like take the emotional roller coaster of just like insanity. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever sat down for more than, like I've seen, clip compilation things where it's like out of context, you can kind of put it together, but like
that's just a taste.
Yeah, watching like him go through a full rant, which is what it is. Like he doesn't have like structured shit, right?
There's structure, but it's evolved over the years. There was definitely for probably half a decade where he would just talk for hours, and he still might do it sometimes, but there are times he just like is babbling for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's in segments, but yeah, I've listened to him for hundreds of hours, and it is fascinating.
I think I told you we were, I turned some of my coworkers on to Prison Planet, and that was describing who Alex Jones was. And I was like,
how could they not know?
They just don't fucking pay attention to it. They're not in, deep in the paint of like you are with it.
But this is like,
they're younger people too.
They're probably too busy on Roblox. Getting big L'd by the Rizzler, you know?
They're
too busy skibbity toileting in Ohio.
I described him as like the far right extremist kind of, mindset. I think he calls himself more like libertarian, right? But but it's also like full deep conspiracy lizard people shit.
Yeah.
The demons and the lizard people shit. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, he's an actual psychopath.
Yeah. The even deeper truth, though, is he's actually more of a grifter that pretends to be a true believer. Like, he kind of knows he's full of shit, but he thinks it's fun and provocative. And that's kind of been like a recent exposure on that.
Yeah.
But he comes off so authentically crazy that no one thinks of him as a grifter like that, because he truly does enjoy it. So he's able to kind of play both sides of like, I'll say shit for money, and I think there's some truth to these things I say. But he more, I think, just likes performing.
I think after I described him, someone says, is he like the Return of the Frogs gay guy? And I was like, that's exactly who I'm talking about. That's him.
Oh, man, that's like level 1 of that iceberg.
Exactly, yeah. It's
level
not even...
2 is like, he was right, and then legitimately, there's some truth to that, and then level 3 of the iceberg is like, well, there is some truth that chemicals in these lakes did affect these frogs' physical sex organs, and then like level 3 is like, but it wasn't in the way that they were just made gay, and then like level 4 is like, he thinks he's right because like there are like so many layers to that like one lie, and he puts out like hundreds and hundreds of the statements a day. It's like a mind-boggling hallucination Marvel-verse of insanity. Yeah.
It's fucking,
fun stuff, though.
It's fucking insane.
That's why, like, both with the Kekimus Maximus and the, like, Alex Jones, like, these things as, like, art pieces, like, if you're sat down in an art gallery, like, in a viewing room, these should be, like, appreciable, thought-provoking.
Yeah, inside of a bubble.
Yeah, like, it is interesting. It is performative. It is dramatic. There are some valid questions. There are, like, positive things you could take, even though most of it will be disinformation, manipulative, and hateful. And I feel like with a galvanized mind, there are things to enjoy or take away from. But to masses of people who aren't prepared, either don't have the information, don't know the context, don't know the backstory, are susceptible, or like they get caught in the hype, these things are extremely dangerous to some people, and especially the people that like have legitimate mental shit going on. Like, I've had so many people in my life with mental disorders that like end up clinging on to online content and just like go crazy. Like, it fucks up people's lives dramatically.
Yeah, it is sad, scary.
It's like it should be safe. Like,
yeah,
we should be able to like view these things for what they are.
You know, there used to be the whole
in this environment. Like, genes express themselves in an environment. Like, the gene itself isn't bad, but in this place, it's doing something harmful. Clearly,
yeah. There's a the often quoted thing of, you know, boomers in the 90s saying, you know, like, you can't trust everything you read on the internet. Like, anyone could be putting stuff up there.
We need that energy back, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the same people that are just spreading shit on Facebook.
Like, you see it on Grandpa's Facebook?
Yeah, oh my God.
The frogs are gay now, didn't you know?
Just sharing anything. Like, just not half reading headlines and then just, spewing it back out at people.
The boomers crashed out, man. They ignored their own advice and forgot the internet isn't all true.
Crashed the economy, they crashed the housing market, crashed the ecosystem of the internet.
They got rickrolled so hard they betrayed their country, dude. They got rickrolled so hard they became traitors, dude.
Fucking classic mistake.
I and my cohorts were the first ever to use aerial drones.
Oh, this is when he
for
lies.
Media broadcasting and
he thinks he's the
coverage.
first person to use a drone to record shit for media.
Fact. I and my cohorts were the first to do a live video broadcast via aerial drone.
I'll give it to him. He could be the first person to do it, but he thinks he should be a doctor because he made the tech when he just had someone else set it up for him.
That's right.
He doesn't
For
code.
this,
He has a
I was brought on
program.
by a university and
He's claiming
which was
he deserves
sponsored by a government agency,
a doctor's
as well as a
title
media corporation,
for it.
to go down and select the first ever drone testing site, and I did. No one really showed up. It was me and one guy from the AP, but that's all true. I'm not kidding about that stuff. So back in 2011 during Occupy Wall Street, some friends and I, we took an AR Parrot drone, which could broadcast video from the drone to your phone.
Wow.
And
Used
we
an
simply
app.
hacked it to broadcast that signal right
in
on
a
the internet.
drone.
And we used it during an Occupy Wall Street protest. It was very cool.
Bro, straight
I don't have a
into the
degree.
mainframe.
I don't have a high school diploma. I don't have a doctorate.
Clearly, bro.
Yeah.
He doesn't even own a stethoscope. He's that dumb.
And you know what? Now, normally I wouldn't say, I'd be like, I'm not going to humble brag, but I want to stress this. Having done that, who is more deserving of a doctorate? Me or this lady who says, describe your smells as
This
racist?
lady who went to school.
I guess sexism and speciesist.
wrote an entire paper that I didn't bother to read.
You get the point. I'm not asking for a doctorate. I don't want one. I have given guest lectures to PhD courses,
It's so
I
embarrassing.
don't want one, but I should have one.
but it just goes to show you that academia is fake.
But I put a phone on a drone and flew it, bro.
Most of the inventions we see out there aren't coming from people who went to college and got doctorates or degrees. If you look at the average billionaire, college dropout billionaires tend to have substantially more money than college than billionaires with doctorates or degrees.
Call me Dr. Drone. Because I be flying, bro.
You look at Microsoft, you'll get Apple. Bill Gates and Tim Apple, I'm kidding, Steve Jobs, we get it. They dropped out.
Gotcha. So his conclusion is college is bad. That's his takeaway.
College is bad. Don't go to
A
school.
lot of these people dropped out. School is a waste of your time. Unless you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, I get it. If your goal is to actually work in real research, you probably still don't even need to go to a university, depending on what you're doing.
I'm not going to learn a single thing for the rest of my life.
Yeah, we don't even need to go to college to do research. That's his next point. Okay. Good luck with the millions of dollars in funding and labs to do your own research.
Right.
What a stupid statement.
Yeah.
You may need basic training in handling chemicals and using facilities if you're going to do chemistry and other things like that at a private pharmaceutical or something. I get it. There is a place for university, but it ain't this. And this is what people are making fun of. Now, a lot of them are getting their facts wrong. That's fine. Nobody should be threatening this lady, but she exemplifies the failures of modern academic institutions.
In what way?
Seize the endowments, shut them down. Intersectional oppression.
What do you think? Do you think he knows what that even means?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you do you. I always find it funny when we have conservative guests on the show on Timcast IRL, and they're like, I'm sending my children to college. And I'm like, why? You and I complain all the time about
Just
this.
fucking give him a Capri Sun, a football, and tell him to get in the backyard and make that money. Give him a camera, set him up a YouTube account.
But whatever, man. You do you. I'm going to wrap it up there. Smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Become a member over at timcast.com to support our work. And you, too, as a member of timcast.com, have a degree, a PhD. If you sign up at a $10 level, you get an honorary
This sounds like a
bachelor's
fraud.
degree.
Yeah.
Sounds like a scam charge. What is this, Trump University level or
And
just
I only
me?
verbally bequeath all of our members as having degrees. And if you sign up for the $25 level, I verbally just state as here and right now, it's a master's. And if you give more than that, then you are hereby officially doctor.
Base.
And maybe we should give everybody in the Discord server titles, because that's how stupid the system has gotten, isn't it? All right, everybody, I'll wrap it up there. Stick around. We got more segments coming up, and we'll see you all shortly.
Yeah, dude. Fuck the system.
Fuck the system.
dude.
I've never interacted with it either.
Yeah, dude. Fuck
He's
the
just mad he
system.
doesn't. He's mad that he's too dumb to get a fucking diploma.
The truth is, he's really just this bitter because he could never go pro skateboarding, bro.
Yeah.
That is like the truth of Tim Pool. He was like, he still skates. Like, he was part of early skate culture, and he just is not that good, and he's very angry about it still. It's a funny man.
You know, I'd like to share with him, you know, maybe he'd be interested in this. If you go to Florida and I mean, it might be certain counties in Florida. I think it's a state thing though. If you go to Florida and get your GED, I forget if it's you test high enough or if you just get your GED in general, but they give you a high school diploma. It's not what do they call it? A general education diploma or whatever. It's a high school diploma.
Mm.
I mean, that's how I dropped out of school. I dropped out of high school and I went to the plan was to get my GED. And then when I received it, it said high school diploma and I was on it. And I asked, you know, one of the two people there who were, you know, representing the school. And they were like, no, this is state law in Florida that if you, you know, when you get your GED here, you can get a high school diploma instead. And it's like, oh,
I want to go.
that's a breaking the system.
The truth is like when you don't need college, like when you're not desperate, like when you're not poor and like absolutely relying on the greed to get your job as soon as you get out, college is really cool. Like it is a chance to like, explore and think about things. And I didn't go till way, way after high school. And it was when I was finally desperate enough to like give something a different try. And I just took like 2 courses a semester for like 6 years, like just in the background, kind of chipping away. And I didn't even go into the field of audio video production or graphic design, but I like ended up finishing and then didn't want to work in that field. And I went back and like I didn't even go for a degree the second time. I just took college courses and got a job. Like there are ways like you can go and just like learn shit, and that's cool. Like I don't understand the like hatred of the system. Like you could go and just do a trade, not at college, and then like if you wanted to learn shit, you could go to your community college and learn something if you want.
Yeah,
Like,
you can just get
what is the problem?
advancement. Yeah, if not, like I went to school for a culinary, right? And it's, you know, considered a trade. It's a hospitality industry thing, and it's
you were learning shit. It wasn't
yeah.
like a college degree, but you like took part in a form of academia in a sense.
it really what I learned. I think that the biggest thing I learned from, like, obviously, it's an advancement of skills. It's a huge set of like compressed, you know, experience
Modules, yeah.
Yeah, that you could get from, you know, working in the job. Yeah, the internet, just working in the job. You know, at the time, I mean, it was 2010,
But it's like you have help doing it.
Yeah, like now, like I'm sure there's a lot more resources for you know, learning shit on the internet. Like YouTube, especially in general, is just huge on anything you need to know how to do, like mechanically or otherwise. There's a YouTube channel for that.
Master psychology class. Like there's everything on the internet, but it's the advantage of like being with other people to help you.
Yeah, that's the other one. It's like the social part of it. Like, you know, living in downtown Toronto for a year, like experiencing the social aspect of it, the just being in a whole new place, a new environment, you know, surrounded by different people. It's different rules, right? Than being at your parents' house when you get out of high school and you want to go do it, or even in your own house when you're, you know, whatever, you decide to just start taking classes somewhere else. You're traveling into a different place. You're meeting all new people. It's a fully, you know, other people who have similar interests as you, that have, you know, the mindset of wanting to better yourself, and particularly like in the field that you want to operate within.
Yeah, but fuck the system. Man.
Yeah, fuck the system. Yeah.
All right, you want to read her abstract, and then we can see what she says?
Yeah, we can pick up where he left off. Or
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Second movement.
The second movement. This thesis studies how literature registers the importance of olfactory discourse, the language of smell, and the olfactory imagination it creates, in structuring our social world. The broad aim of this thesis is to offer an intersectional and wide-ranging study of olfactory oppression by establishing the underlying logics that facilitate smell's application in creating and subverting gender, class, sexual, racial, and species power structures. I focus largely on prose fiction from the modern and contemporary periods so as to trace the legacy of olfactory prejudice into today and situate its contemporary relevance.
She's putting a little, like, slightly controversial, like shading or, like, moral judgment in some of these words, but she's still not stating an opinion yet. This is just, like, an analysis.
Yeah, no, I don't even take it as, like,
it's really not.
It's more of she's definitely putting a light on it that, like, hey, this is real and it's happening, and while
like
somewhat intentional, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't even know if I agree with the lens, but it's like a lens to look at literature. It's like
exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. I suggest that smell very often invokes identity in a way that signifies an individual's worth and status, and in an arguable manner that short-circuits conscious reflection. True. This can be accounted for by acknowledging olfaction's strongly affective nature, which produces such strong bodily sensations and emotions that reflexivity is bypassed in favor of a behavioral or cognitive solution that assuages the intense feeling most immediately. Olfactory disgust, therefore, tends to result in rejection, while harmful forms of olfactory desire may result in sublimation or subjugation. My thesis is particularly attentive to tensions and ambivalences that complicate the typically bifurcated affective spectrum of olfactory experiences, drawing attention to displeasurable olfactory relations that have socio-political utility. I argue that literary fiction is not only an arena in which olfactory logics can be instantiated, but also a laboratory in which possibilities for new kinds of relations and connections can be fostered and tested.
I like the imagination she has exploring this idea. Like, you can draw our human connection to smell is so strong, it can, like, hack us to have emotional responses.
Yeah.
And how we use words to symbolize feelings, thoughts, and ideas. By using smell as a tool that way, we can draw lines or connections or relationships to different types of people, different classes of people, different places, and all these things can be manipulated for both good or bad, like bringing us together or
right.
putting us apart. Like, I don't even think there's anything controversial. Like, some of the language might be a little loaded, but the conclusions she's making aren't, like, very disagreeable. Like, there isn't, like, even a strong statement yet.
Yeah, really all she's saying is that, like, things that words, adjectives that are used to describe people or describe things or animals or whatever, they have connotations. Those connotations, they hold emotional responses that can and have been used particularly to put people down, hold people up, to create a sense about them that the reader is then supposed to feel, not just think, but feel.
I think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Like, this is, like, cool. Even if I disagreed with some of her conclusions, which I haven't so far, it's interesting, Tim.
Yeah. It's absolutely something that, like, it feels obvious in retrospect, but it's something that I hadn't really considered of, like, You know,
it's a
because it's not
lens.
like, okay, obviously there are racist connotations to saying like whoever, like their clothes smell bad or something like that. And it's like there are connotations of that, of saying that they're poor or they don't care or they, it's almost all negative stuff that comes with that. Or, using instead of like, they didn't smell good, saying like it was a putrid odor, or like the different words that hold different emotional responses to them.
Yeah.
But then like you can read that and it can be construed as a thing like, oh, they're, whoever said this in this way is saying this because the person they're referring to is, black, or is, like you said, poor, as a class thing, or is a man or a woman, or like there's different ways that's said, and you can read that and think like, okay, yeah, that's a racist or a classist or a sexist thing to say, but also because it is such a powerful sense that's connected to your brain.
Yeah, like it could be used as a literary tool to like help the reader empathize with a character, or it could be used to like divide you from them. Like
Exactly.
there's so many ways it could be used, and the lens of just like looking about how smell can be used in writing. It's like a very interesting thought. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I don't read a ton of books. I mostly do audiobooks if I do anything at all. But there's absolutely, especially in the world of fiction, where you start to connect people, the characters in your book to people, whether it's like, they act a similar way, or the description they gave reminds you of someone else. And then by putting that, making that connection of emotional response to this character,
It's powerful.
it can carry over.
It's compelling to real life too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, it's
compelling writing.
It's like when people say like, oh, I had a dream, where you did this crazy thing, and like, that's wild. And it's like, yeah, of course you're not believing that this person is the same now, but it's connected to your memory.
Yeah.
It's connected. It's meant to have an emotional response. I'm going to read this next passage because Tim didn't see it worthy of reading.
Yeah, he just fucking bounced on it.
It is a lot.
And he's reading the abstract. He's not even reading the paper.
Yeah.
This is just like, God, dude.
It is a lot of references to things that she explores, which is great. Chapter 1 explores how smell can be used to indicate class antipathies, partly as they relate to homelessness, beginning with George Orwell's seminal nonfiction text, The Road to Wigan Pier, from 1936, before considering Lane Sinclair's The Last London from 2017, and Bong Joon-ho's Parasite from 2019. Great fucking movie.
Yeah.
In Chapter 2, I explore the fantastical, idealistic, and utopic thinking that surrounds olfaction, which presents smell as fundamentally non-human, by addressing J.M. Coetzee's Disgrace from 1999, Virginia Woolf's Flush from 1933, Rachel Yoder's Night Bitch from 2021, that's a kick-ass title, and intersectional olfactory dimensions of misogynoir?
War, yeah.
That's also a kind of a cool word. I'm sure its meaning sucks,
cool
but it's
I don't know.
the coextensive anti-black racism and misogyny that black women experience, and considers Toni Morrison's Tar Baby, 1981, Bernice McFadden's Sugar from 2000, and Raven Leilani's Luster from 2020. In Chapter 4, I conceptualize an oppressive olfactory logic, which is used against women and girls in order to legitimize their harassment or abuse, drawing primarily on Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita in 1955, but also Patrick Susskind's Perfume from 1985.
Lolita is what the book that Epstein's plane was named out after.
Oh, fun.
Because it's a book that's like celebrated by pedophiles. It's about like an underage, older person relationship.
Is that the one that Trump turned into his plane?
Yes, exactly.
Fun.
He bought it at auction because the good old days in Epstein's plane he wanted to relive, so he made sure to buy the Lolita.
Just telling on yourself, dog.
Yep.
Chapter 5 discusses two forms of olfactory desire, perversion and queerness, which have separate moral valences. I address J.M. Coetzee's The Master of Petersburg, 1994, Anne Quinn's Berg from 1964, and Sam Byers' Come Join Our Disease from 2020, and argue for fiction's role in reorienting readers' habitual relations to olfaction.
It sounds interesting. I would like to read the whole paper when I can get a stolen copy.
Put it on audiobook for me.
Yeah, we heard what Tim thought about it. What a fucking loser, dude.
His arguments, he didn't really have an argument, but his opinion's invalid because he didn't actually read it.
Yeah. Now, how about we hear from the author herself? Our third movement. This is an article from theconversation.com from the writer, Dr. Ali Lukes.
And
I think that's her name.
She says here, I'm not ashamed of what Tim had to say with his stinky tumor.
Yeah.
And
the title is My Research on the Politics of Smell Divided the Internet. Here's what it is actually about. This is from December 16th, 2024. In November, I celebrated finishing my PhD. After 3.5 years of writing and research, it was an occasion I wanted to share with my academic network. So I posted a photo of myself holding a physical copy of my PhD thesis on X. The post amassed 120 million views.
Fucking crazy.
And sparked a lot of anger in response to its title, Olfactory Ethics, the Politics of Smell in Modern and Contemporary Prose.
Just pause for a second. 120 million views.
It's absurd. It doesn't even make sense, dude.
I just speculate. How many people do you think actually went through and explored what, at least as deep as we have?
Less than 1%.
Yeah, 100%.
The title received criticism from those who were willfully misrepresenting the nature of the research. Quote, smells are racist, became a misguided refrain. One user commented that it was a study of, quote, why it's racist and or classist to not like it when people exhibit bodily odor consistent with poor hygiene. My thesis studies how certain authors of the past century use smell in literature to indicate social hostilities, such as prejudice and exploitation. It also connects this to our real-world understanding of the role that senses play in society. For instance, in The Road to Wigan Pier, 1936, George Orwell states that, quote, the real secret of class distinction in the West can be summed up in 4 frightful words: the lower classes smell. Orwell proceeds to unpick the harm that this kind of messaging causes and how we might combat it. That's a really interesting line from Orwell. Yeah. It is well documented that smell has been used as a justification for expression of racism, classism, and sexism. Since the 1980s, researchers have been assessing the moral implications of perceptions and stereotypes related to smell. My thesis adds to this work by assessing the contributions of a selection of books and films that take smell seriously. In each of the texts I considered, smell takes on a role beyond mere sense perception.
I include examples from well-known works by George Orwell, Vladimir Nabokov, J.M. I almost said Goatsy.
That's my favorite author, bro.
I include examples from well-known works by George Orwell, Vladimir Nabokov, J.M. Coetzee, and Toni Morrison, as well as notable recent examples such as Bong Joon-ho's film Parasite. I suggest that smell very often invokes identity in a way that is meant to convey an individual's worth and status. In Parasite, for instance, a working-class man overhears his employer say that his smell crosses the line, which the director describes as a moment when the basic respect you have for another human being is shattered.
Dude, that's such like a real thing, like in life when you're struggling. There are times like you can't control how you smell. Like that's
right.
It sounds like ridiculous, but it's just like a real thing people have to go through at parts of their life or like a lot of their life, or like there are things you can't control about your material surrounding that can affect how other people perceive you. Like,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
There was a period of time when one of my things I hate the most is laundry. When you have your
damp
laundry,
smell.
yeah, the kind of damp, kind of mildewy.
That is
smell to
poor
it.
people's smell. That is like definitionally the smell people identify with that the most. It is like a hard thing to overcome when it is happening to you.
Yeah, but it's really like what it is. I mean, it's such an easy thing to have happen to anybody.
Yeah.
Especially when I lived in a smaller area, like smaller studio thing, and I shared a laundry room with, my whole floor. And if the dryers always take longer than the washers. The washers would be finished and like you're sitting there waiting and people would have stacks of shit that they're
interrupted your shit and let it sit moist.
Even that, just like pulling it out and realizing there's no dryer to take it to. Like I would go down to other floors and like sometimes I'd gone to like 3 different floors one time and there's no dryer available. And I'm like, okay, well this fucking sucks. And like my other alternative would have been like picking up and you carry all my shit down, 6 floors to the car, find a laundromat somewhere, that's open at 11:30 at night when I'm doing laundry.
After you work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it's not a feasible option sometimes. And it's like, yeah, it happens that, it's embarrassing.
But it happens to middle class to poor people. Like it's rare someone who has material wealth, like
when you have your own washer and dryer in your house and you don't have
or someone does your
urgency.
laundry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have the urgency of, like I need to wash this shit so I can wear it tomorrow.
And that all her paper and her words about it have like got at so far is that by using smell as a lens to view a character or a play or whatever, it's just a way you can like get into some of those things. It's like so benign.
Yeah.
Some authors draw on a long history of discrimination based on smell to explore its relevance in contemporary society. For example, during the transatlantic slave trade, black slaves were said to emit a foul smell, a misconception that contributed to their dehumanization. In Toni Morrison's novel Tar Baby from 1981, which is set in the present day, one of the protagonists uses this racist association, stating, quote, "I know you're an animal because I smell you," to a black female character. I found that it's hard to counter such ideas that people have about certain smells being associated with particular identities. This might be down to the strong emotional and bodily reactions produced by smell.
We tend to think that our desire to avoid bad smells is an instinctual protective mechanism, but evidence suggests that we are taught which smells to find disgusting, since the disgust response is almost entirely lacking in children under the age of 2. The sense of smell, then, is shaped by society and is influenced by the prejudices that pervade it.
It's interesting.
I also make a case for the personal and social functions of reading and critically engaging with literature in which authors closely engage with smell. The texts I consider in my thesis introduce readers to new ways of understanding their own sense of smell.
For example, in Sam Breyer's 2020 novel Come Join Our Disease, 2021, the characters thoroughly embrace bad odors and draw attention to the harmless nature of doing so. There was a girl, one of my girlfriends for like 5-6 years or whatever. We got together because I smelled so bad. And I used it as a because I was out for like a day and a half, like in high school, but I like stayed all night somewhere at a concert, was like soaked in alcohol. Like my clothes like were completely drenched of like drugs and alcohol to the point the painting teacher opened all the windows.
That's great.
And she was across the room, and that's
she kind of laughed and fell in love.
Yeah, it was funny. I suggest then that books and films don't just record political aspects of smell. They can also foster and test new insights into our own sense of smell. That many commenters were initially unconvinced that smell could possibly be a fruitful topic of academic discussion speaks to the widespread devaluing of smell. Ultimately, Smell is one of the main ways almost all of us engage with the world, and it deserves more of our attention. I love that. What a beautiful way to conclude that.
Yeah.
A little cheesy, but I like it. I like that she brought it to what was truly her inspiration or interest in all of it, instead of taking the probably easier route of politics baiting and fighting back at it. She's like, this is about the smell, and I wish they respected that.
Yep. Respect my smell, dog.
That's lovely. I like it. I like what she wrote. I look forward to reading the whole paper, and I hate these fucking traitor shill Republican losers.
Yeah.
So I enjoy this.
I wish the doctor the best. I hope that her endeavors lead her to good things, and we see more for her in the future, and that maybe, all this extra publicity, helps her sell some shit.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to reach out to her, see if she'll do an interview.
That would be kick-ass.
It would be.
There's just 3 doctors on a podcast. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thanks, John.
Make sure to check out the show page at Trashcast on Instagram for news and art from the show. Check out Facebook for the memes.
For the memes, don't actually, because all of our socials are dead because we've become so antisocial, it's hard to be social. Okay, yeah. So we're doing a very poor job of promoting anything we're doing, but 2025
Steven took a break.
is year of the trash cat. Okay, we're trying out some new methods soon, and we're really gonna come into our own. It's gonna be a prosperous era. Okay, our aura is gonna go up by over 10,000 easy.
Yep. Super skibbity aura.
Ohio Riz for sure. Big cool things on the way. Got some art coming. Got couple podcasts I'm very excited about. I'm not even going to say what it is because the difference between people's enjoyment of the thing and their final experience is really just expectation. So I realized there's no advantage to talking up anything we do because we're just going to let people down.
Yeah. It's a win-win situation because really what that means is we have to say less words.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't have to work as hard.
But I got big manifesto on the way, a couple other big things, and appreciate you guys making it to the new year. You're a 2025 trash cat, and it's a big deal in these parts. So
it is. It's really I think it's pretty wild. I think it's pretty obvious in the way the world's moving that, it's the year of the trash cat 2 years in a row.
We speak for the youth.
Yeah, it's not our call to make on these things. The universe decides it. And, we're just grateful to be given the opportunity.
Yeah.
That's going to be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat trash.
Skunks stink.